What's up? We're back. It's 4-0.
Oh.
I'm your host, Nick Roberts. With me, my good friends Jasper Grover and Edward Dunstan from Singapore.
Oh, yeah. I'm on a fact-finding mission.
Hopefully you're not trying to find the new CEO because they've done your job for you otherwise.
Yes, there's a lot of great business talent out here. So, but, you know, Andrew, what's his face? What a bloke.
Andrew, do not know him.
Yeah.
Yes, we were talking just before the show got started about the, I guess it's not a rumor, is it, anymore? Andrew
it's
Dillon.
Not official, but it sounds official enough.
Next AFL CEO, and gee, I tell you what, I can't really find much about him.
No, he's just he seems like he's been second or third in command at AFL headquarters anyway for a long time. So it's very unexciting, and don't think there's a whole lot there that will affect us in our day-to-day footy watching, footy consuming lives.
But I'm sad, I'll miss Gil.
Yeah, same. I mean, he's such a personality, whereas this guy looks like the opposite of that. So
Is Gil a personality? That is not one adjective I would have used for Gil.
everyone knows Gil. He's like
Everyone knows him.
he's kind of a rich, benevolent uncle.
He's not the kind of guy I'd like to have a beer with, I'll tell you that.
Really? I thought once he fast-tracked the AFLW, it was meant to kick off in like 2019, he fast-tracked it to 2016. I thought that was him sort of like marking his, or was it 2017? Like, that's when people really started to take notice of him.
I mean, I guess he's always just been the AFL CEO, so I've never been like taking more note of him than otherwise.
It's that anti-establishment attitude, Jazz, that, you know.
Well, ever since
always comes up.
Ever since he rebuffed Clarko's coffee dates, he started turning him down. Off him.
He rebuffed Clarko's.
No, he didn't. He kept taking them, but Clarko left, so we weren't getting the fair shine from the AFL anymore. So
yeah. Well, because I know that free kick Hawthorn used to be a thing. So
that used to be a thing back when 2017, when people were first hearing about Gil.
All right, well, let's jump into it because we haven't got Ed for too long. I wanted to kick off. We're going into round 7 now. And this is where, as previously discussed on Fox Footy with Lee Montagna and David King on First Crack, they often like to say that the finals, the top 8 teams at the end of the season, start to take shape about now. So there might be 2 changes to the top 8, maybe 3 if we're really lucky or rare, whatever. But the top 4 might not make it out of the 8 as well as the key there. And so the top 4 are the Saints, the Pies, the Dees, and the Bombers. And then 5 to 8 is the Crows, the Lions, Power, and the Blues, with Geelong, Swans, and Dogs sitting on the 9, 10, 11. If you had to take a crack at it, who do you think might be the 1 or 2, maybe 3 teams to change there?
I'd say the Dons, Adelaide, and maybe Port.
Really jump out. Yeah, I could say that. I reckon Port's going to make it. Port's looking good. I think, I reckon the Bombers will probably drop out at some point. And Adelaide maybe, but I think Adelaide in Adelaide, it's like they're pretty consistent and they play pretty well most of the time. They'll lose. I don't think they'll play as well as they have across the first 6 rounds the whole season, but I think they might. I reckon they could scrape into like 8th with 11 or 12 wins or something.
Adelaide's
4, but then they play Collingwood next game. So
that's what I was just about to say. In Adelaide, the last game of this round coming is Crows Pies in Adelaide. Wow. I think that's going to be.
That's an awesome game.
Awesome game, which you'll be watching. Where will you be watching that one from, Eddie? This
Glasgow.
weekend. Oh,
Glasgow.
Cool.
Yeah. I think if I'm going to watch it, I think I have to get up at like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m.
So
or something.
You're going to do that, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you got to sacrifice for the pod. So, yeah.
And then the other thing that I wanted to kick off the show with Most coaches' votes polled in 6 rounds into a season. This is from Swampy. Ever. We've got, or since they started recording them, I guess, at least 2004. We've got Nat Fyfe in 2015 had 50. That was the year he won the Brownlow. And number 2 all time, 45 votes, is Nick Dacos.
Yeah.
He's had a good start to the year. Hot take.
I was able to view just how good he is now on Sunday. he's good. Oh, not on Sunday, sorry, on Tuesday. He's very good. He's very good, and he's a very good kick, and he just seems to not run out of energy ever. So, yeah.
Should we start there? I wouldn't mind starting there. So Pies come back from 28-point deficit at 3/4 time on Anzac Day to overcome the Bombers. Sorry,
Is this in your top 5?
This is in my top 5. This is let's go there. This is actually point number 3, but we could make it number 5. The comebacks. The Crows coming back over the Hawks to win in the dying minutes. The Dees coming back over the Tigers in the final quarter to overcome the Tigers, who were playing well, and then the Pies coming back to overtake the Bombers.
We can argue over what defines a comeback. I don't know if 2 goals is a comeback.
They were losing and then they won.
Well, then every game's basically got a comeback.
Yeah. No, I think it's because, I mean, you know, as a neutral,
2 goals in 2 minutes, but
they were in the last quarter in like the last few minutes. Like, I think I was looking at the scores at whatever it was, like 10 minutes to go, and I'm like, oh shit, Hawks are going to get up. That's great. But alas, I'm really sorry, Jazz, but they did not. And
all right. I am very sorry that your team.
Oh my god, it was crushing because we, like that game, the third quarter, we looked all over them. Like it was like it started off in the second half, like Collingwood's midfield getting on top, and then we just like I don't know what happened, but our defense was like holding up, and then Jaden Laverde got injured at some point, and we kept kicking goals, which was great. But then in the last quarter, we just could not get our hands on the ball. It was
at
nuts.
all. Like, it was weird to say.
At all, we could barely got it forward, and they were just getting it forward at will. And because I did read that basically what happened was with the midfield, we sent Will Setterfield back out of the midfield.
Who's been one of your best players.
Yeah, he's been good, and he's probably you think he's like 190, 192 centimeters. So they were like, okay, he might have to be like a mid-size option in defense, and we'll put Ben Hobbs in the middle instead, who's a young player. And I think, he's a good player, Ben Hobbs, but, obviously the Collingwood, they lifted, and their midfield just got on top, and Dacos basically absolutely carved us up out of the middle. And
Dacos finished with 40 disposals, 9 score involvements, and 604 meters gained. And the Pies kicked the last 7 goals of the game. They had 19 more inside 50s and 21 more contested possessions than Essendon. Yeah.
So, we got roundly smacked in the last quarter, and that was a very depressing watch. But the first 3 quarters were great, so I was impressed.
While we're on that, because we're doing a compact show, I'll do this week's trivia now because it's related to that game.
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
Can you guess the highest, what the biggest loss or win is in an Anzac Day game? To the nearest
I think it's
5.
I reckon Collingwood smashed us one year. I was there. I reckon it was like maybe 70 points.
Oh, you're not far off. It's 73 points is the highest margin ever, and that was. Can you guess the year if you were there?
Okay, so Scott Gumbleton was playing, I think.
He would have been around this time.
And we didn't kick a goal in the first quarter, and they kicked 7 or 8. And I think it was, let's see, if it's Scott Gumbleton.
No, you're thinking of a different one, it looks like. Just going by your memory.
Oh, okay. 2015.
No, it's 2008 is this game.
2008.
Yeah, you're older than you think you are, Eddie.
That was 73 points, and then 69 points in 2016, maybe what you're thinking of.
Oh no, I think there's another one as well that was like 50 or 60. Anyway, that's a good one.
There you go.
And Ed,
Oh my god.
big game this weekend for the Bombers as well against the Cats.
Oh, it's the Roberts Dunstan Cup.
I know. I'm sad that we can't go to it
I
together.
know. Yeah. Are you gonna go?
I'm going to be in Lawn, so I'll be watching it on the TV with the fire going and an ale in
nice.
hand. Yeah, I'm excited
Sounds
for that game.
good. I think you guys just briefly on that question you posed, like that's connected to your top five, including Essendon or whatever, is
Yep.
that Geelong look ominous at the moment. That was that. I mean, I don't know whether this is in your top five at all, but I reckon Essendon is going to be up against Geelong next week. So.
It is my number 2 moment from the week.
Okay,
the
I'll
Cats
wait for it.
93-point grand final rematch repeat. Sydney was held to just 3 behinds in the second half. I thought what was most amazing about it was not only did Sydney not want to get their revenge or stake a new claim, they got beaten by even more than they did in the grand final.
Yeah, that was a crushing. Like I watched the first quarter and I'm like, they're not coming back. That Geelong looked so much better, and yeah, like Mitch Duncan obviously is a good in, but somehow you guys have just gone from being a really average team in the first 3 rounds to just slaughtering teams. So yeah.
I think one of the big differences as well is Tom Hawkins finally showed up kicking 5 goals. Jezza kicked another 5, so he still leads the Coleman tally. I think he's got 27. That might have been one of my swampy excerpts. Most recent players to kick 27 plus goals in the first 6 rounds of a season. Jeremy Cameron, before that was 2008 when Lance Buddy Franklin did it. So at this rate, because there's an extra game this year, he's on pace to kick 103 goals.
Yeah, I know. That's the big question. Could he actually do it? Could he kick 100?
No chance.
Okay.
I'm going to say he finishes about 84.
Let's say Geelong play 4
90.
finals as well. 4 finals as well.
If they play 4 finals, I'd say he gets
So what would that be? 26. So 23, 24, 25. He could play up to 27 games this year.
Yeah. I'd say if they play all the way to the grand final, I would say he's a chance in the grand final, which would be pretty crazy.
Imagine that. The grand final, people running onto the ground. Would that be one of those ones where like they will put so much security on that people couldn't do it? Or will it still happen?
Nah, it would happen regardless. It's happening. Like, you can't stop.
They need to start planning for this now because like imagine that. Imagine if you did it in the grand final.
Imagine if he did it, but they're like the inverse score from last year. They're down 80 points, and then he kicks like is he gonna cheer? Like what?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Wouldn't be a good celebration time.
And getting back to the intro, I think Geelong will jump into the top 8.
Yeah, of course they will.
I still think the Dogs can. I'm not sure about the Swans anymore. I did they did drop the most in my power rankings, although it hasn't changed much.
It's not the derby. What do they call it? The crosstown.
The Battle of the Bridge.
The Battle of the Bridge. That's awful name for a clash. But anyway, they've got the Battle of the Bridge this week against GWS.
Yeah, so they should win that.
I mean, they're
heavy favorites.
They've only won one more game than GWS, but
yeah.
What about instead of the Battle of the Bridge, like is a snafu a thing?
Yeah.
The Sydney snafu.
That's not bad. I mean, a snafu is more of like a bad thing that happens, so it's not a great name for a game, I guess.
What is a snafu?
Like if something went fucked up, you say, "Oh, that was a snafu." Like if we were having technical issues with this podcast, you'd say that we're having a snafu. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Maybe if there was like if Toby Green kicks someone in the face and it starts like an on-field brawl that everyone gets suspended for, then you'd say that would be the Sydney snafu.
GWS is a bit of a snafu, aren't
they? So Swans are 4-goal favourites in that one. 24.5 points going in. I think if Geelong and Dogs jump into the top 8, I would get rid of Carlton. There's no way I think they're going to be there at the end.
I think they will. I think they will.
I reckon Carlton's going to pull a 9th man. I think they're going to finish 9th.
I think the Bombers might be the other team that drops out, but I don't know. They're playing well. I just don't know if they're better than the Lions or Port Adelaide.
No.
But I can't see the Crows and Port Adelaide both being there. So
I think the Bombers would be unwise to make the top 8 because that would be, we've done that numerous times where we creep into 8 and get smacked. So we should finish 9th. That would be my hope and wish as a Bombers fan.
That's gonna get snipped and clipped into thousands of memes from now on. The Essendon supporter that doesn't want them to make the finals.
Yeah, going to timestamp that one.
That is actually a pretty hot take.
Very hot. Yeah, we can't be too casual about this. This is a supporter who doesn't want their team to make the 8, but also you're not advocating for tanking to go bottom to get a good pick. You want to be just middle of the road.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, while we're just to finish up on the comebacks point as well, the Dees over the Tigers. Did you have any thoughts? Did you watch that game and have any thoughts on that one? I thought it was a great game.
Half time or so when Tigers were up, and so it looked good. But then, I wasn't able to see the last half.
Well, I watched the highlights, and it looked like a fun game. And I think I've heard Stephen May is in a bit of hot water at the moment for playing like shit. So. Yeah.
I love that you don't know if he is. You just heard that he is, and so now we're going to claim that he is definitely in hot water.
He's in hot water.
Yeah.
From the Twitter AFL rumors.
On the outer now at the Demons.
Do you reckon? Okay, so I'm thinking of a headline. It's like Mayday, like in trouble.
I would bet my left nut that has definitely been used in a headline for Stephen May. It has to have been. It's a good one.
Dees new recruit Jacob Van Ruin or Rui. 3 goals in the final quarter. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Playing not bad
too. And he's another player that people can go like Roo or whatever. Because
they do.
Like like Hawthorn supporters somehow make Bruce into Brew.
That's Brew. Yeah. Brew. Not Boo.
Oh, so then why does Adam Sard get booed?
No. What he gets is he kicks the ball and all the Carlton supporters go, woof. Listen closely. It's exactly what happens. Yeah. Okay. Adam Sard. Yeah. When he kicks the ball, everyone goes like, ooh. Because he kicks it a long way. So, yeah. It happens every time he kicks the ball.
Okay. So that's why he always leads the games he plays in meters gained.
Yes. Yeah, he kicks a long way, yeah.
My top 5 moment from the weekend was actually on Tuesday. It was just, and this is maybe a bit of a cop-out, but it was sports in general on ANZAC Day. I woke up to the news. Well, we woke up to the news. We already knew it, but Aaron Rodgers finally getting traded to the New York Jets. Swapping first-round picks, and the Packers might pick up a first next year if they're lucky, if he plays enough. So that was pretty exciting to finally get that. We've got the NFL draft coming on Friday. I'm extremely excited. Jasper, you'll probably attest to this. Jimmy Butler, 55 points? 56, most in franchise history in a playoff, but also how many of all time in playoffs?
4th, I believe. MJ's first was 63, then I believe there's 57, and then 256.
That was a wild game to watch. Heat also putting it to the Bucks is pretty wild. I don't think I saw it coming.
Nobody did.
Nobody did.
How'd the last post go in that Heat versus Bucks game?
Yeah, I love the American. It's the what's the agreement that we have with the
ANZAC?
Yeah. It's the ANZAC spirit coming through.
They honor the ANZACs.
The Lakers win was cool as well, but also the way it finished with the Pies beating the Bombers in the end. Man, I was exhausted. Exhausted from that day. It was a great day in sports.
What do you? I feel like that's a condition. Like watching so much sport, you're actually like sports exhaustion. Like, we got to think of something because
we'll go to the doctors and we'll get it diagnosed.
Yeah, it is a medical disorder that requires
We'll go to
treatment.
Dr. Kappa, and he can come up with a term.
Yeah.
All right, my number one moment from the round. See, can you guess? Can you remember? Maybe, do you want a clue?
Your number one moment. It's definitely Darcy Fogarty kicking a winning goal against the Hawks.
Oh, that was number 4. That was number 4. I skipped over it because we kind of talked about it in number 3 in the comeback section. It was a good goal though, but it was Charlie Cameron from the
oh my god, that
play.
Goal! Yeah,
the toe tapping soccer play.
Have more replays come out from that? Because I've only been able to see the live vision, which isn't very good, and then there's like the goal line vision when it was like reviewed whether it was a goal or not. And
there's an angle from like the 50-meter mark.
There's no good like HD close-up angle of it I haven't seen, which is piss poor. Like it looks like a fantastic goal, but there's no like highlight footage that you could put in an end of year package sort of thing.
Just the way he Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I remember watching it live and it's like I'm like it bounced near him or something like that, and he obviously put his ankle out, and instantly I was like, oh, that's goal of the year. Like if he actually meant that, and if it didn't get touched on the line or something, that is goal of the year. Because
he 100% meant that. You see, as soon as it went in his direction, he tapped it off his foot, and he instantly turned his head around to see what happened. Insane goal.
Like absolutely amazing.
Also had 7 goals for the game, so that was just one feather in the many of his caps. Or many
it was a Charlie Cameron show.
He's got one feather that he puts in lots of caps.
Do you think there is a perception that Charlie Cameron is like, he's like good against shit teams, but doesn't do a lot against? I think that's totally unfair. I think he's a really good player.
I don't think it's like a fully solidified reputation like Gary Rowan in finals sort of thing, but I think it's something that people do say every now and then. I don't think it's fully true. I love Charlie Cameron, so I don't think he's a plotter or a downhill skater or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. I think he's a small forward, so it's always going to be the big boys up front who will probably get the lion's share of offense. But I mean, he makes every moment count, which is why he's so amazing.
He's awesome. Love Charlie.
So yeah, that was a good game for the Lions against Giants, who are still sort of struggling. Brisbane led the contest, 12 marks, contested marks 12-4 at halftime. They're all over him. Giants' winless streak at Monica Oval extends to 8 games.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Not great.
And Monica's actually like one of the places where Giants fans show up. So yeah.
And then also that Adelaide win in Launceston was their first win there since 2005, which was pretty cool to see.
I doubt they've played many games there.
Yeah, definitely. Hawthorn, though, 55 of 75 games they've won.
Yeah, we used to be very good.
That's true. And just a special moment from the round from me personally, just going to toot my own horn, but a perfect 9 of 9 for the round. I was pretty happy with that. I can't remember the last time I got 9 of 9.
Very good tipping.
I went from like 30th in my footy tipping competition to 21st now. A big jump.
Question for you. Do you go on just like, okay, they're the favorite, or do you go on gut feel, or do you think about it for a bit? Like, what's your process with tipping?
So my process is I try to come at it from like a sports betting point of view, where you kind of have to build so before you bet, you build yourself a narrative. So you say, okay, if the Dogs are going to beat Freo, what would happen for that to happen? Or if Freo are going to beat the Dogs, what would have to happen? It's the same thing with even the biggest blowouts. Like if Geelong beats the Swans, what would have to happen? If the Swans win, what would have to happen? And then you kind of formulate these stories of like what you believe to be most true. So even though like Freo, for example, were not huge favorites. Sorry, they were 3.5 point favorites going in against the Dogs at home. I could not see any chance that Freo was going to win that game. They've been so bad. They've not had any form.
Yeah.
Just lost Tabernar to surgery. His season might be over. And the Dogs are not bad. The Dogs are a good team. They've had some tough competition, and they've won some tough ones, but they've lost some gettable ones as well. So
they're going to get a percentage booster this week.
It's the same thing with the Blues. Everyone loves the Blues. And I said this on the pod last week. They've beaten no good teams. They can't. Well, they finally come up against the Saints and they get blown out in the fourth quarter. Like, I thought anyone could have seen that coming, even though the Blues through the week were favourites. Now, when it got to actual kickoff, Saints ended up being the favourites in that game. But yeah, so it's just that kind of like process of setting a narrative and what do you believe is going to happen.
I'm thinking like trying to incorporate your name into Nostradamus and
John Stradamus. Let's go with John Stradamus.
Rob Radamus? No?
John Stradamus.
John Stradamus. Okay.
Look, I'm going to enjoy it because I don't remember the last
John
time I got all
John
nine.
Stradamus. Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen again for a long time, so we'll see.
That's pretty good though. I also just with the narrative thing, because sometimes I go like, oh, you know, this team's better, but they always shit the bed in the third quarter or something. And I don't actually, it's like a narrative, but it's not based on any stats or anything. It's just like a gut feel narrative. That's what I end up doing. I tie myself in knots. Yeah, vibe. I always like tip on vibe, and it's such a bad way to tip. So
it's a bad way to bet, that's for sure.
It's like, you know what it is? It's like the thought we have. It's like, oh, that team's due for a win or a loss. And it's like, no, they're not.
Yeah. It just sometimes takes a bit of a reality check. And I use Carlton again as the example because we were marveling over how they beat the Tigers, the Cats, and they beat the Giants. And, you know, we were saying like, oh, like they're an amazing team. They haven't lost any games after 4 rounds. And then I think that like their true colors are sort of starting to shine through because we're starting to learn more about who the Tigers were and who the Cats were at that time as well. So that's it. That's my top 5 for another week.
No.
Ed, do you want to jump into any rules you've been thinking of? Otherwise,
yeah. So I was tossing up between a couple, and one of them.
Oh, we're losing him. All right, Jasper. We'll wait for Ed to get his act together, get his internet connection back. I did want to start with one of the rules that I was thinking of last week, which I think you saw. So I was talking about the Jack Silvani on the goal line saving a goal inside 50 meters. Can't remember who they play last week. Let me have a quick look. Blues played the Saints. That's right. And so it was inside 50. There was no players. It was just him, and he taps it through the goals. So he saves a goal.
Yeah.
But in the process, he gives up a point. But it's like a rush behind. But he's not under any pressure because there's no other player in the vicinity within like 20 meters of him. So should that not have been? So this came up on Twitter, and I don't think this is at all, but it was an interesting discussion. Should that not have been a free kick to the Saints? Because it wasn't the Saints. That was last weekend. I'm talking about the weekend before. Crows. Should it not have been a free kick to the Crows because he wasn't under any pressure?
I can't remember the play off the top of my head, so I can't say definitively. But I mean,
basically, an Adelaide Crows player kicked it from outside 50. He was the only. Jack Silvani was the only player. Inside
and
50.
he just kind of helped.
He got to it
along.
Yeah,
and,
It was like about to go through the goals, and he touched it on the goal line at the last second.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like it should be a point because he touched the ball, like he's saving the goal.
Yeah, more or less. So that's kind of the rules. But so someone on Twitter was saying, but he's not under any pressure. So shouldn't it be a free kick to Adelaide? Therefore,
was he in a position to keep the ball in play, like a lot easier?
No, there was no way because he was like running full speed to get to it.
Then no, like. I think it's only if they're in a position to keep the ball in play that it should be deliberate because the whole point is like, otherwise, then we're just giving deliberates anytime the ball goes out of bounds, basically.
Okay,
I've got a solution to this.
Oh, Ed's here. Okay, so just before you start, Ed, I just wanted to pitch the idea. Okay, so here's my new rule change. We introduce a goalkeeper. And it's so not anyone can rush the ball through for a behind under pressure, whether you're under pressure or you're not under pressure. Only one player, whoever's the designated goalkeeper, is the only player who is allowed to rush a ball through under pressure.
Yeah, nice.
If anyone other player does it, it's a free kick.
That's craziness, because it's positionless of a sport, really. Like, you don't always have to have a full back. So your man who could be designated maybe underground.
Yeah, but also maybe the goalkeeper could get like novelty size hands to help him goalkeep better.
Like another foam finger number one thing.
No, it'd be made out of like hard plastic or something, so it properly stops the ball. I was thinking because I caught most of that, but I was thinking, like, to stop the ball going out of bounds full stop, why don't we get rid of the boundary line and just play to the fence?
So you could just like bounce the ball along the fence.
Yeah.
Do you mean like in hockey? Like,
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. I'm not against that, as long as there's like
you
maybe
can bounce it off the wall into the goals.
I'm getting Nike ad to 1998. I think it was like a World Cup ad. Do you remember? They played in a cage, and it was
it's
Elvis Presley remix.
The Elvis, Little Less Conversation.
Yeah. I'm thinking that those kind of ads. Maybe we play footy in a cage.
Yeah,
a really big cage, kind of like Rocket League.
Hell in a cell. Yeah.
The only question I have is the goals are obviously a meter or two in from the boundary or from the fence. How does that affect this new boundaryless game?
The goals are up against the fence.
Okay, that's much easier to fix it. All right.
Yeah. It's just the crowd will get much closer to the game. So just a quick one for me with the rule, because I was going to say they should shorten their game to 3/4 so Aston would have won the other day, but I won't go with that.
Like, you're just taking lots of ideas from hockey because they have the 3 periods, right?
3 periods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but I was thinking that we hear about all the time about how one of the biggest problems in modern AFL is that the game is overcoached. Too many strategies, too many coaches, too many different voices, too many systems, too many processes. I was thinking, and I was thinking about coaching and about how simpler messages are much better, and that you should have a limit on how much the coach can say to the players, and he should only be able to say one word to each player, one word to the team as a whole, and that's it. So just imagine how simple and concise that message would be. And it's not like, oh, we have this like zone defense, cluster, Clarko, whatever it is. It's like, no, it's just one word, like offense. Just attack. Defense.
Yeah, like, get a goal. Kick a goal.
No, that's too many words.
No, just goal.
Score.
So,
stop.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't mind this. It does have a little bit of NFL vibe about it, because when you're after a play in the NFL, when you're going into a huddle, the coach can communicate with the quarterback over radio in their helmet until there's 15 seconds left on the play clock, and then it cuts out. So then the quarterback has to relay everything. So they've got like 5 to 10 seconds to relay the information from coach to quarterback, and then quarterback to the huddle.
Imagine going off the ground and like your coach can give you a spray, but it can only be one word long. Bad.
Before you came in with the rule of one word long, I was thinking like you go back to the era of like the early 2000s mobile plans. You give him a $5 data plan or a texting plan, and he can talk as much as he wants until his data or his minutes and his texting runs out.
You've got capped minutes talking to the players. Okay, that's not bad.
It's like the interchange limit. You've only got to set, like, you got as much as you want, as long as you get in that certain period of time.
And it should be a monthly cap as well. So you've got to work out which games do you want to spend more time communicating with your players than others.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you Geelong, Brad Scott would have kept all of his Chris Scott, would have kept all of his minutes after quarter time. He wouldn't need to say anything. They can save it up for next week. Yeah,
he texted a one-word message to the group as a whole.
GG.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
All right, I love those, Ed. Thank you for your input as well. Looking forward to next week as well. Let's finish with a couple of the key games this weekend coming. It looks like there's a few good ones. I'm seeing Friday night Saints Port Adelaide will be good from Marvel Stadium.
That'd be great. Hope Saints win.
Yeah, I want the Saints to keep winning.
No way. Port Flagellade.
Oh, true. Yeah.
No.
Saintsational, John.
That's
That's a website apparently for Saints fans. But
you can only access that from incognito mode though.
And the domain's only active when they're winning, which has only been recently as well.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a good match up. See if I can find the injuries in the meantime. But we're also saying Crows Pies will be good. I kind of think Sneaky Tigers Suns will be a good game.
The Carmichael Hunt game.
Yes.
Reason I say that is
the Tom Lynch Cup.
No, the Carmichael Hunt. Go, you go.
Well, I was saying that if you remember from last year's game up at the Gold Coast, Tigers were up by 40 points just after half time. Suns came back to win the game with a Noah Anderson goal after the siren.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
Tigers might want revenge, and I think it's going to be a good game. Suns haven't been playing too badly against weaker opponents. But the loss of Took Miller is going to be...
outside of those games. Oh, man, my boy Took.
Yeah.
Outside of those games, though, it looks like it's pretty nondescript week of footy. There's not too many games I'm getting amped about.
Geelong Essendon, bro.
Geelong Essendon
could be a good game.
Geelong could also beat us by like 60 points, so it could happen. I don't think it will. I reckon, that rings a bell. But I reckon Geelong will beat us by 30 points. So I think it'll be a closer game than Geelong Sydney, but still lose.
We are only 15-point favourites, so it's a bit of a closer one. Maybe the 15 does sound good, Ed. We're going to be without.
What favourites were you against Sydney? It definitely wasn't 80-point favourites, 90-point favourites.
No, we were. I think it was like 3.5 points.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll be out without Tyson Stengel still out and Reece Stanley. Jack Henry still out. Menegola still out. Beers, concussion.
Yeah, we'll get Merritt back, which would be good.
You've got Merritt back. You've got, Peter Wright still out. Nick Cox still out. But not too many injuries.
Laverde might be out too. He got his shoulder hurt.
Laverde is
key back.
Is out. I did have teams with the games experience for this week. So fewest missing games experience. Jeez, I'm butchering this. Crows don't seem to have any injuries. Hawks are next and North Melbourne. West Coast have 1,728 games of injury experience missing.
Wow.
Sydney have 1,090. Collingwood have 1,024. So big names. I wonder if that's because Pendlebury got injured in the end of the last game. Perhaps. So we'll see. Hard to say. But yeah, I think that will probably do it since we're having so many internet issues this week on my half as well. Anything else from anyone before we sign off?
Nah, fellas.
Well, I mean, we didn't really talk about Tassie getting a team, which is pretty big news.
Wait, Tassie's got a team?
Well, it's all but confirmed. The government's giving them
it's been all but confirmed for like 3 years.
No, but like the government's giving them a stadium basically. So
cool.
They're building a stadium.
That's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to record Ball or Nothing from that stadium.
Yeah.
Ironclad guarantee to the listeners out there.
But
it's a lot.
I mean, I definitely should have brought this up early because it's a way bigger talking point than AFL news, AFL CEO or anything like that.
I think that's all that needs to be said.
I was just going to say, does that mean the 20th, you can do some scouting for where the 20th team should be, Eddie, on your trip?
Oh, well.
Word on the street is Northern Territory.
Hot, so I would say possibly not here.
No, I think Eddie's going to find a new place.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I'll scout out new places. I reckon Singapore's too hot though. I think the home field advantage would be outweighed by how much the teams that are from Singapore struggle in degrees under 30. So yeah.
Also, they talk about West Coast having to travel a lot. The Singaporean team would travel a shitload.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and just be a bunch of expat Aussies watching it. So no team here.
Next one.
Who would go up there to captain the team? Do we think who's most likely to?
Oh, okay. Someone who loves
Jake Stringer.
Yeah, loves the Heat.
Like, is Barley so close?
No.
Well, he loves
no.
Yeah. He loves
No. It would
Southeast
be
Asian lifestyle.
like lots of young professionals here. So who's like a Yo Pro? It'd be like Brody Grundy. Because he'd be like
Matt
starting
Rowell
as like, oh yeah, maybe Matt Rowell. He's pretty white though. He'd get burnt. So, so yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
I'll probably have to pop off. Yeah,
that'll do it from me, from all of us. Thanks for tuning in. Another weekend. Looking forward to footy.
Oh!
Yeah.
See you, fellas.